getting into the astrotheology of Rome and what is Rome, if it ever was a place. Rome was an old word for town. And the founders of nations, going back to what we were talking about earlier, they designated every place as a town in whatever language they spoke. So you have the Chronicle of Cuma says that the name of the first city was Valentia, and that this name was synonymous with Roma. You also have Umbria, right? Also spelled Umbria, but and it's the same thing because philologically the O and the U interchange. But that was the alleged civilization that was in Rome first, Umbria. And so they conquered Britain, hence North Umbria, and also Umberland. When you add the aspirate, it becomes Cumberland. Now, Valentia means strength, just as Rome does. Rome in Greek comes from Ranumi, which is probably the origin of Rhone Valley, if I had to guess, in France. Now, Valentia's radical is similar to the ville, V-I-L, in French. That's a word for town. You see that in Spanish, villa. Valencia in Spain is the reason Cesare Borgia was called Duca Valentino, on account of his archbishopric in Valencia. And keep in mind, the T, the S, the T and D are interchangeable, used indiscriminately. So is the T, the S, the sigma tau, and the S and C. And this is like the Greek language. They're interchangeable. So Valentia is Valencia. It's the same word constructed. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, maybe go look up the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul and just look at how Constantine's name is spelled, and you'll see like C's instead of sigmas. So this is another skill set that people need to have when you're researching. By knowing language, when you're looking at stuff, you can identify what they're encoding easier if you know which letters have interchanged with different cultures over the years. And that is very helpful when you're trying to decode the meaning of a word.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then just to think one thing, because, I always try to think of people who are so new to these types of things, or even stuff that I'm talking about, is just looking at the own language that you look at every single day. Like the word, for example, numb. Like, oh, the B is silent. Like, yes, okay, great. Now you're starting to get a sense, okay, you use this in your everyday life. Or like fill, it's PH. Like, so it's like, oh, that's just how you say it. But it's like, fill, I fill a hole. And so people can start to, I always like to say, look at just words in our own language that you use every day, not even realizing what Dylan is saying is just that. It's this interchangeability.
You just made me think of something. Let me just jump in right there, because I'm going to forget.
Please.
Just to highlight what you're saying. So look at the word fish. So the F, the V, and the B clearly interchange across different cultures. You have VISHnu, takes the form of the fish. You have Pisces, right? What you say Pisces, well, that CH is SH, pronounced Pisces, right? VISHcopatius. You have bishop. What were bishops called? PISCiculi, little fish. VISHnu, Pish, Bish, it's all the frigging same. And if you don't understand that, you are not going to understand what you're looking at in different cultures. And that's why I stress the importance of language. And I know it sounds like I'm harping on things, but it's like, that should be 101. You should be able to look at any language and see this. And the more you learn, the easier it gets. It's just the initial learning the alphabets that's a pain in the effing ass, right?
Right.
You got to learn how to transliterate it into whatever your native language is. So you got to learn the Hebrew alphabet. What letters does that correspond to? And when you see all the gross errors that the Jews make with that language, it's really frustrating. Then you got to learn the Greek alphabet, learn how to transliterate it. It takes 20 minutes of hard studying.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. It's frustrating. It's monotonous. And once you get it, you're going to be good.
Right. And I think